Good morning. So for today's session, we will discuss about um, Zoho Creator. This is a low-code platform. We will discuss about the overview and we have a list of agenda here. So before we dive in, let me introduce myself. I'm Jonathan Salceda, one of Zoho developer here in DevTech. I am working around 4 years now. So this will be our agenda. We will discuss about how we will create the form using custom templates and on how we are able to customize the form. And the second one, we will discuss about how to build the custom forms, or we will create a form from scratch and add some fields, and we will also include some rules validation, and we will also discuss about lookup fields and subform. Along with this, we will also discuss the creation of conditional workflows, and we will also implement some data in pre-validation using custom script of Deluge. And in the last part, we have the automation of emails and notification from Zoho Creator Forms. So let me open the live application. Once you access the Zoho Creator, it will display all the applications that you have within your Zoho Creator account. So for us to be able to create the form, we need to create the application first. So for creating the application, we have two options. One is the new application button, or we can import some file for us to be able to create a application. So for the sake of the session, we will start from scratch. So let's say we have an order application, then click create. So the first item that we need to discuss is the form creation using template and customization. So we will create a form from template. So here we have different types of template based on the use case or the type of business that you need to implement this application. So since we are using or we have an order application, let's try to search order. So we have order tracking and we have the new order. So let's try to use this one. So once you click the template, the fields included in that field will automatically reflect on the form. Then you can click done. Once you access the application, it will automatically reflect the template that you have selected. As you can see here, the order date, order details, shipping details will also be available. So that's how we're able to, or that's the process on how to create a form using the templates. So when it comes to customization, we have an options to change some colors, font, the themes of our application. So for us to do that, we need to navigate here, and on the right side, we have different types of layout that we can use. So for example, I want to use this layout. It will automatically reflect on your application. As you can see here, the layout has been changed, the color, let's say this green one, it will automatically reflect on a single click of the layout. As you can see here, of course, it will vary on your requirements. So also we have an options to change the color here at the bottom. So let's just try to select purple, and then it will automatically reflect on your application. And we have a custom color as well. If you want to change some color of the header, the menu, submenu, or the theme of your application, you can utilize these options. Once you're done, you can just click the save. We can also change the font available here. So this one, and we can also change the placement of our fields within the form. So for example, I want to select this one. As you can see here, the layout or the fields placement is changed like this. And one thing that we need to discuss is the canvas within the Zoho Creator. So the canvas is only applicable on detailed view of the applications. So I'll just change the theme quickly. We have the detailed view. We can create new layout in this. So once you click the new layout, it will show you the builder or the layout available for Canvas. So these are the available, and you have an also an options to create from scratch. So for the sake of this demo, let's try to select this one. So order form. Let's try to refresh. So let's try to submit a value burger. So let's say the price is 100. Let's try to submit this one. Okay, it will require for us to provide the Jando. And let's try to there is a pending. So the subtotal is required. Let's try to input some random value here and try to submit. If we access the record and click this one, as you can see here in the detailed view, the layout is customized. Similar on the previous one, let's try to create um so this one is from scratch. Before we create the form using the template. So this time we will create it from scratch. So let's say it's order. So we will try to add some email, phone. So we need to create the customer name. So uh let's try to add some name and what else? Email, phone. Okay. So this is the process on how to create a form. So once you added all the fields needed, we just need to click the done. Then you can now access your um forms. So here we have an order form created from scratch. So since we have the form already created from scratch, what we will do now is to create a field rules in Zoho Creator. So for us to do that, we need to create a workflow under the order form, and we need to trigger this event on create or on edit of the form. So under field and rules, so as you can see here under before form submission, we have field rules. Then we need to supply the workflow name. Once you create, it will show you this page. So again, our goal is to hide the email if the first name is blank. So let's click add new action. So we need to supply the condition here. If the first name is null, we need to hide the email. So as you can see here, the email field is hidden by default. But if I input any character here, the email field is showing. So that's one of automations in Zoho Creator. Now we will add a lookup field within our order form. So before we do that, we need to create a customer form first using this plus icon. Create a form from scratch. This is a customer form. We need to add some basic information. So the customer name, the customer email, the customer phone number. Okay, just this one. Try to save this one. And under the order form, we need to change this one to lookup field. So we will look up the name of the client or the customer from the customer form that we have created earlier. So let's refresh this one. As you can see here, we have a customer form. Now under the order form, we need to remove the name. So before we delete this field, we need to remove first the unshaded workflow. Since we have created here earlier, we need to remove this one first. Let's try to reload. Okay, so we will replace the name using a lookup field, and we will select the customer name and select the name. So here we already look up the name of the customer from the customer using the lookup field in order form. So let's try to refresh the order form. As you can see here, I was able to create a lookup to customer. So let's just add some data here. So let's just say John Doe. And let's try to use Kendo at gmail.com and provide the mobile number. Submit. If we go back to the order form, we can see here the channel. So that's one of the process on how to add a lookup field within the Zoho Creator. So the next one is we will also add an order or a subform within our order form. So let's say we have let's say we will add some order details here. Since this is an order form, let's try to add a subform on the bottom. So before we do that, we need to create first the product. So we will look up the product under order form for us to be able to fetch or pull up some product information. So let's try to create the product from scratch product. And let's say we have a product name, a product description, and the price. Okay, let's save this one. And under the order form, we will add a subform. So this will be a blank form. This will serve as order form or order details. And we need to add a lookup field here. We will look up the product name. And we need to add more fields like um, single line, or we can also add more lookup for us to pull up the product. Um, okay, let's just use, since we already used the lookup for the product, let's try to use a product descriptions using multi-line description. And the last one is the price. So it should be decimal. So now we already have created an order subform within the order form. Let's try to refresh our order form. As you can see here, we have an order details subform. So we are able to look up the product. So let's try to reload, add some product details. So let's say hot dog. Um, let's say this is a Virginia hot dog, and the price is 100. Let's create more product. So this is say apple, um large apple, and the price is 66. Once we go back to the order form and use the subform, as you can see here, the apple and the hot dog is visible. So this is one of the approach and how we're able to create a subform within the Zoho creator. So the next discussion is to discuss about validating the data entry using the logic scripting. So since we already created an order details subform earlier, now we need to implement a um, validation wherein if I select a product, the product descriptions and the price should be auto-populated. Okay, so for us to do that, we need to create a workflow. So under workflow, we need to create a new workflow under order form, and this should trigger on create an edit, and it should work on user input of the product under the order details. So auto populate product details. Click create. So for us to do that, it will require some delete scripting. So the first one is we need to supply or initialize the product within the row. So selected product underscore product equals to row that product. And we need to validate if the selected product is not totally null. So since we have the variable not equal to null. Here, we need to validate the product selected if equal to the product under the product form. So let's say product details equals to the product module and ID. So we need to match if the product ID is equal on the selected product. Okay. So if true, we need to populate the um, product details or product descriptions equals to the product details that product descriptions and semicolon, and the other one is row that price equals to the product details that match on our selected product lookup. So product that price, enter. So we need to provide the semicolon. uh, let's try to click save. So let's go to order form. If I select the product here, like for example apple, so the descriptions of the apple and the price should be auto-populated here. So it's working fine. Let's try another one. So it's working fine. As you can see here, the Virginia hot dog and the apple descriptions is matched. So that's one of uh, approach or automations that we can have within the Zoho Creator using conditional workflows. We need to validate. So other workflow is basically, for example, we need to make sure that before they submit the form or the order form, the order details is not blank. So for us to do that, we need to create a new workflow. On create, let's try to use the validation on the form submission. So let's say order details restriction on submission. So we just basically validate if input that order details equals to null, we just basically alert the customer or the user order details should not be empty, something like that, and we can create or use the cancel submit. So it will restrict the form for submission. For instance, I'll remove this one, but I'll supply the customer name. Say Jando. Let's try to click submit. As you can see here, it says order details should not be empty. So this is the um, message that we have added on our alert message on the workflow for validating if the order details is not equal to null or equal to null. Sorry. Now, the next discussion is to create a conditional workflow in Zoho Creator. So we have a use case wherein if the payment status is equals to paid, the order status should equals to or updated to confirmed. If else, the status will still pending. So for us to do that, we need to create additional field, the order status and payment status. So add drop down order, let's say payment status, and we have order status. So this one, let's add some values like um paid and paid. Let's use this one. And for the order status, we will add confirm and pending. So we have two payment status and order status. Again, the goal is if the payment status equals to paid, the order status should update to confirmed. Okay. So for us to do that is we need to create a workflow under order details, create on edit. We can have field rules, for example, or let's try to use mm, what rules do we need to, or like if, for example, user input. Okay. If this will based on the payment status, so update the order status based on the payment status. So let's say if payment status equals to paid, input that order status should be equal to confirmed, else input that order equals to pending. Save. There is a missing, so there is a improper statement. Order status equals to pending if if input that payment status equals to paid, input order equals to confirm, else status to pending. Mhm. Let's double check. Paid, okay, paid and confirm. Okay, order status was confirmed. What else is pending here? Okay, so I think this is the in the problem. So we don't need to use double equal since we are assigning values. So let's just use one equal. Okay, so let's try to reload. For example, customer Chando. If I select the payment status as paid, the order status should be confirmed. As you can see here, the order status automatically reflect as confirmed. If I select unpaid, the order status should be pending. So as you see here, it's working fine. That's a conditional workflow in Zoho Creator. Of course, we have a lot of options here based on the use case. So the next discussion is about sending an automated email within the Zoho Creator Forms. So for us to create that form, for us to be able to create that automations, we need to identify first the trigger point. So we have different types of options to trigger an event or send an email. So the first one is upon submission of the order, we need to notify the customer that the order has been submitted and received by the system. So for us to do that, we need to create a workflow under order upon creation of the record. This should be the record event, so it should be created, and submission of form. So notify customer on order received. So here we have a workflow here. So we are able to send native notification using email. You need to supply the variable or the from address, which is the admin or the login user. Or if you have a custom email field that will serve as a sender, you can use that one. So for this case, we need to use the admin, and we need to use the email form, which is the customer email. So let's put this message, then click save. For instance, I submit a form or an order, and I will provide my Gmail account, and select some products. If I submit this one, I should be able to receive an email from Zoho Creator confirming that the record has been added. So I received the email like this. So this one, so the order has been added. So that's one of the notifications or email notification that we can utilize within the Zoho Creator. The next one, we also have an options to send an email through the logit scripting. So for example, send email from Zoho. We need to mention the admin or the login user. So in this case, we use the admin, and we will use the customer email. And the subject should be order has been added. Hi, hi, plus input that customer, that name, that your order has been added. Thank you. So this one, same event, but different type of approach the way we send the notification. So the first one is this the native email notification via email builder. This one is using the deluge scripting. So if I go ahead and create new order and provide my credential for the Gmail and number, select some products. So the order added is successfully. So let me check on my Gmail if I receive another email. So here I was able to receive the email. I have here the email from um, the system that I've created. Okay.